Hello, my wellness seekers. This is your host and Wellness Rain Special, Sudi Barre. So today we're going to talk about the biggest issue to pure, well, I won't call it pure, but a whole healthy mental health well-being. And that is stigma, the stigma that prevents us from addressing the core issues. And stigma is something that's awful, that is very, very toxic, but it's a broad. There's stigma around mental health and addressing mental health. And if you, based on some cultures, if you talk about having mental health challenges, you're already tainted. So today we're going to talk about that how that is so untrue and so false and such a negative thing that we need to really address and work through. So today we're looking at in Stigma, Notes of Management of Spoiled Identity by Kaufman. And you can find more information here. Kaufman, Irving, Stigma, Notes on the Management of Spoiled Identity in Inglewood Cliff, Prentice Hall. So you can find him. He's a Google scholar. So as my fellow wellness seekers today, I'd like to talk about stigma, how stigma erodes our capacity and our initiative to really heal our mental health wounds. Stigma is something that taints us, that uh, literally tells us that no. If you talk about it, it's taboo, right? So we don't want that, because once you fall into that trap of I can't talk about it because it's taboo by cultural standards or stereotypes in general, as they are falsely have false premise, right? They create a lot of issues. So one thing is that when we engage in negative stereotypes and prejudices, it provides us a way to escape from addressing the real issues, right? A lot of issues are, as I had previously addressed, are the foundation, the roots come from colonization and oppression and abuse of power. But rather than addressing that, we'll address everything else around it. And that erodes us economically, socially, psychologically, and our health too, right? Because our health is so vast that it's not a one thing that we have health issues. So that being said, so what is stigma? Stigma is something that marks us and signals that to others that an individual or attribute that we have reduces us, right? From a whole, full a human being to something that is rather lesser. We're a lesser person, a lesser quality, a poorer quality, and inferior, if you would like to say, even less than human, may emanate an abomination of the body. Like, this is a disgrace. You'll hear people say, this is a disgrace. And I'm just like, why? They never investigate the why. They just love to say such things, right? So that is a big issue. So, and it banishes the individual or character, such as a mental illness, addiction, because it'll go to say, abomination, how dare they? Never addressing how did this person get here? What led up to this situation? What exacerbated them from being fully capable and assured and confident and self-sufficient? And self-sufficiency, again, is a big thing that we need to address sometimes. But self-sufficiency sometimes enables people to finger point, when in reality all of it goes back to colonization and abuse of power and structure, right? Power structures. And even in so here we'll look at tribal identities, race, gender, uh, religion. So Kaufman really reinforces in his early views of stigma that it it marks to differentiate social interactions, right? There's those that have and those that have not, like landlords and renters, or and that's the whole thing. Landlords came, right? There's so much that we can talk about, but going back to the topic, it's when we fall into the trap of thinking that we can heal our mental health and our mental well-being because of stigma, we should see that should signal an internal red flag to us and say, are you going to stop bad mouthing and stereotyping and poor judgment of others to protect and prevent you from fully healing and being whole? No is your answer, and no, it should be your answer, because we are deserving to be whole And just because there was an abuse of power somewhere along the line, be it economically, socially, or psychologically, or historically, even, right? Everything's based on context. We cannot allow such things to prevent us from regaining our confidence, our self assuredness, and as well cannot prevent such things from flourishing as beings, right? We're whole beings. And no matter what happened, and no matter what is happening, you as a human being are entitled to be to be living in dignity with dignity and to be nurtured on every aspect of your life. And when you're in a position where you're fragile and you're under nurtured and nurtured, that's a room for compassion. That's not room to finger point and blame. And a lot of times when we have challenges with our mental health, we opt out to blaming ourselves and say, oh, me, I did this wrong, that happened, I must be not smart, or I must not have it all act together, like my act together. But guess what? Nobody has their act together. Nobody's perfect. We are humans, are flawed. We're imperfectly perfect. And first thing we can do is just say hell no to any kind of stigmas that prevent us from accessing equitable supports. Okay? That's what I want to leave with you today. Prevent yourself from being eroded by the naysayers and the negative voices that try to oppress us. Because by even calling it stigma, it's an oppressive word. Because stigma tries to make us lesser human beings. We are not lesser, we are whole beings, okay? And I need you to fight for it. Self advocacy is the number one thing that we need to do above anything else. You are your own biggest ally and your own biggest voice. Thank you so much. See you soon.